Hey everyone, Catch 'em All Collectibles here. Happy Monday, the Monday after Denver Collecticon. I am, however, recording this before I leave for Denver Collecticon, so don't expect any updates on what happened there. Expect that later in the week during my live stream. What I wanted to do today, since I'm a bit short on time and I've been wanting to follow up on it with a shorter, more concise video, my consignment service. So for the past 6 weeks or so, I've been running a consignment service, and link down below if you have any interest in sending to me. I'm going to very quickly, my last video was 50 minutes talking about auctions versus buy it nows. This is just going to be a lot quicker. So step one, email me, Instagram message me, Discord message me, however you want to reach out with a list of cards that you have. If you want to do pricing, that's fine. If not, that's also fine too. But start by reaching out. Every card that's sent to me under this consignment service needs to be approved. Every shipment needs to be individual approved. Step two, await approval and get my shipment address. You'll actually get my submit. You'll see it on the next tab, the submission form. You'll get my shipping address, but don't ship anything that's not been approved. Step three, fill out the form. I'll quickly show you the form here in the other tab. Again, this form is linked down below in the description. Red boxes are required cells. You have to give me your desired payment method. I pay via PayPal Friends and Family. I pay via crypto. I pay via check from my business account, ACH transfer, potentially others. I don't do Venmo. I don't do Zelle. I don't do Apple Pay. Those are some of the most requested ones that I don't have. But I cover a lot of bases with Friends and Family, check, ACH, crypto. I think that could cover about everybody. So preferred contact method, let me know how to talk to you. It's nice when it's done through email because email is very easily searchable, kept for a long time. Instagram is a bit more of a pain. Discord is more of a pain to search, but they work too. Let me know if you want something shouted out. I do have some people who send me consignments that want to be anonymous. That's perfectly fine. I have some people who send consignments and their business card, and I show the business card, and that works well too. I'll always try to highlight items on my Instagram through stories. I'll also highlight through YouTube on my various live streams and return a shipping address. Ideally, this is a buy it now consignment service. Everything will be sold. But if and when something were to come up, if you ever decide to have things come back on a case by case basis, I will come up with a fee, actual shipping cost plus some amount of money for my time. I'm not having this service set up. No part of it in its design is that card should be having to be returned to you, but I like to have your address on file just in case I ever do have to return it. Yeah, so I always keep the return address with each individual shipment in the vault in where I store the cards. Everything is insured on site. Shipments inbound and outbound, as long as signature is required, they are covered by my business insurance. Here's a little form that you can use. I mean, you can go way more than 10 cards. I've had submissions up to 200 cards already. But you type in the name. If you want to, you type in the price. I use low list and last sold to set my list price. And this calculator will automatically, it has this nice long formula you can probably not even make out there at the top. Lots of nested if and statements that will spit out what your net amount would be if you were to sell that card through me for the given list price. So anyways, back to the terms. Once you fill out all those forms, you've got approval, you send it. Now you finally ship. Very, very important step. Step three, ship with signature required. If you ship without signature required and it is lost on the way to me, my business insurance will not cover it. You have to ship using USPS to my P.O. box. That is the address that is covered under my business insurance. If you have to ship to a FedEx or UPS, reach out to me. We can probably do it that way too. I do have access to some addresses that can be covered under insurance, again, if signature is being used. But once items are received, once pricing is approved, if you've done the pricing yourself, it's quicker, it's easier. I just use your pricing that you came up with, as long as it's low list on eBay. I do have a requirement to list things low list on eBay. I don't want to become a vault service, storing your cards for free, having them not sell. So yeah, once pricing is approved, if you have not pre-priced them, I will price them. I will say, hey, check this spreadsheet. I'll share a Google Doc with you, a Google Sheets file with you. Once you're happy with the pricing, boom, it's listed within 2 days. And I sent you that. I send you that link to the live Google Sheets every Wednesday as sales are made. Minimum $499, minimum $500 essentially payout. but you'll be paid out every Wednesday. What I do is I go through on Tuesday. That's when my eBay pays me out. I go through, I verify what was sold for each consigner, I update their spreadsheets, and then I send you a quick message Tuesday afternoon, Tuesday evening. Hey, I'm going to be sending you a payment of $1,000 for this week tomorrow. And then I make those payouts. Or say you've sold nothing. I generally won't send a message. Some people are consigning only one card with me, and they've not yet made the sale through multiple weeks. So I might touch base with them every month or so if we need to reprice it, if we need to, because it's been undercut or whatever the case may be. But yeah, generally speaking, I have just a handful of very large consignments. Is generally what I've brought in so far, which is great. It makes it easier to work with the same people over and over. Those are kind of like the ideal consignment setups, to have one person that's just sending in continual submissions of more and more cards. But yeah, send you a message Tuesday. Hey, you got 300 net this week. Not enough for the threshold. We'll get you paid out the next Wednesday that you are over the $500 minimum. Some of the terms, what you can expect as far as if you reach out to me. I've mentioned it before. I try to do not disturb on my phone. I try to not answer messages too frequently outside of business hours. So business hours, my standard business hours are whenever USPS is open, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern time. That's generally when you can expect to get a reply from me. I do work a lot of weeknights. My wife is a teacher. She works a lot of weeknights too. So very frequently after the kids go to bed, I'll check Instagram. I'll check my emails. I'll return messages as soon as possible. But at a minimum, I'll get back to you within one business day within those time frames. So I just wanted to put that out there in my terms so you can have some kind of an expectation. Term 2 is where there's a change. So 6 weeks ago when I launched this service through my very lengthy video, I was accepting only PSA, CGC, BGS graded Pokemon or MetaZoo cards. I have since accepted some Yu-Gi-Oh cards, and they've actually done really well. Small sample size, anecdotal, but yeah, I've done great with one consigner on some Yu-Gi-Oh cards. I'm open to accepting sports, Yu-Gi-Oh, anything that's graded through those three companies. Twice, anything as long as it's PSA, CGC, or BGS graded. If and when it becomes a problem down the line, say people submit tons of things that just don't sell, don't sell, I might come back open to revision. I don't, again, I'm not intending to become a free vault service here. One great thing about an auction consignment service is weekly basis, except for what's unpaid, 80 to 90% of items are being sold and moved out. With a buy it now consignment service, I think it achieves a higher price, generally speaking. Slower though, it's slower. I'm building up more cards in my vault than if I were to just be auctioning them out, moving them through. I think it's a benefit to both me and you, though, getting a higher gross sale, higher net to both of us. So that's why I'm operating in this fashion. Number 3 is unchanged. I'm still requiring a $250 average item. Let me actually subtract off the $100 minimum, and I'll get to why that's going to be done away with. I still will require, if you want to send in $50 cards, you have to get it to where if you're sending in 20 cards, it needs to be a $5,000 total list price between all of them. $250 item average. It just, for now, I don't want to be inundated. I don't want to grow a PSA backlog like they did. So you'll see on my next tab, once I go deeper into depth on that tab, I'm running near the capacity that I desire with my current thresholds. Getting rid of the $100 minimum, I might tick in a few more. Accepting Yu-Gi-Oh! And sports, I might tick in a few more. So I'm going to make changes very minimally, very slowly. And yeah, I'm not going to get inundated. If and when it starts looking bad, I'll make an Instagram post. I'll make a quick YouTube video saying that, hey, this new thing has changed. I'm declining receiving these from now on. But yeah, number 4, items are priced to sell. I mentioned this already. Low list on eBay is a requirement. If there's one listed for 1,000 and you want to go 2,000, don't send it to me. I want to price things to move. I don't want to be a free vault service. Tentatively, I mentioned this. I had a couple people. I think I have only 6 unique consigners total. Let me just check quickly on the next tab. Or sorry, it's this one. 3. So yeah, I have 1, 2, 5, 6, 7. I have 7 or 8 unique, because there was one that predated the service being even public. So I have 8 unique consigners, and some of them individually I've arranged. After X amount of time, we're gonna send out a 10% offer to the watchers. After Y amount time, we're gonna send out another offer, or we're gonna discount the listings by 10%, 20%. There's no set rigid amount that you have to do, but it is encouraged. It's something that I personally do with my own buy it now inventory to just stimulate sales. If and when the market trends up, buy it now is just get sold. If you list an item for 1,000 and it's low list, market price moves to 1,100. Well, in between market price being 1,000 and market price being 1,100, your item will be bought. So when prices move up, when market's moving up, it takes care of itself. Buy it now is just sell. If the market is flat or trends down, that's where I just use those tactics to stimulate sales. We're still in kind of that broader economy where prices might be flat or trend down over the near to intermediate term. So yeah, that's just something I encourage. That's something that I do myself. And multiple of my consigners are actively, basically what I do is I have a spreadsheet for each person. I don't make it public because you're not going to buy a card from this consigner if you know that the next weekend I'm going to discount it by 20%. So I don't make that public. That's private between you and me, the schedule on which we're going to do offers if we're going to do it. But yeah, I think it's a good tactic, and it works well. It stimulates. If I send out a 20% offer on my 1,000 listings in my store, I'm shipping 100 cards the next day. It's very good for making sales. Um, Slight change here in the fees. So still same 20% flat fee, all inclusive up to $2,500. Every dollar after 2,500 is a 5% fee. So if you sell an item for $5,000, the fee isn't 5% on all of that. The fee is not $250. If you sell an item for $5,000, it's a 20% fee on 2,500, which is $500, plus a 5% fee on the subsequent $2,500, which would be $125. So your fee on $5,000 would not be 5%. It would be half of it would be 20%, and half of it would be 5%, a blended. And on the submission form, you don't have to do the math yourself. This formula has that built in. And the new part of the fees is that there's a $20 minimum fee. So I used to say I don't want any items under $100. I used to say that there's a $5 surcharge or a $10 surcharge if your item goes. So 20% plus $10. A quicker, easier way to do the same thing and to kind of discourage really cheap items being sent to me, make a $20 minimum fee. If an item sells for 100, 20%, boom, it's all built in. Good to go. If an item sells for 50 though, that's a 40% effective fee, the $20 minimum, but it has to be. It has to be because I need to value my time. I need to get paid a reasonable wage to do this, and I need to cover shipping. But when you sell an item for $50, if you're only going to charge 20%, I would lose money. I would work for free and I would lose money actually shipping the item. So that's why the $20 minimum needs to be there. You can actually see that here. Quick demonstration of these prices would be what you net. If you sell a card for me through $30, I would not recommend it because you're only going to net $10. You're paying an effective 67% fee. Don't send me $30 cards. It's not worthwhile. To do that anyways, you would need to send several very expensive cards. I mean, if you want to, you can, feel free, but you would have to get to the $250 average item. So you need to send a lot of cards with it. I mean, I'd be fine with it at the end of the day, but not recommended just because it's a big fee. You'd be better off just auctioning a card of that caliber probably. So yeah, that's a little bit about like updates, quicker video on how the fees are done, and then just a more formal update on like the logistics of it, how it's been running. So 6 weeks now I've been running. I have here shown 7 different, these are like the consignment codes. Basically, I attribute a 3-character string that I add to the end of every listing. That's how I manage my inventory. That's how I don't mix up people's cards. I have had a couple times now where GU1 has a PSA 9 reverse hollow Jolteon, and so does EB1. I've had the same cards. What I do is I list them at the same price. They have the separate thing at the end. In my inventory, they're kept in the separate boxes with your business card, with your return address. If anything were to ever happen to me, people would know how to get the cards back to you if the unfortunate things were to happen. So I'm a planner. I really think things through. If and when disaster were to strike me, your cards would not be lost. Your cards would, your cards would make it back to you. That's part of the whole idea behind sending me your return address up front. So yeah, here's just a quick summary of what I've received, what I've sold so far. So I received 448 items in the past 6 weeks, which you do the math on it, it works out to about 75 cards a week. And I've received $145,000 in total value of cards, which is great. Works out to I have a $250 minimum. People are doing a great job keeping up with that. $323 average price is what I've received thus far. And if every card were to just instantly sell overnight, it would be a busy day tomorrow. It would be great though. The consigners would net $116,000 from that 145, and thus far, out of the potential $116,000 net, 15,600 has been actually paid out to consigners as of today. So more than 10% of cards have been sold, and some of these, like, out of the 448, I received 200 of them last week. 200 of them have been listed for less than a week. 200 of them have been listed for about a month. 10 of them have been listed for about 6 weeks. It's all variable. One thing that I want to add going forward are more metrics. I do have down here some average time to list, 1.5 days, average time to pay. That's just by design. When you pay once a week, if it sells the day before I pay out, it's a 1-day payout. If it sells the day after I pay out, it's like a 6-day. So the math just works out to where I'm averaging about 3.5 days. That's never going to change. That's always just going to be that way. But average time to list is always, I mean, I'm scaling it. My max desired capacity I have listed here is about 80 cards a week. That's not what I'm not going to turn into a full-time consignment service. I'm never going to lower the fee enough to where I'm going to do this full-time 40 hours a week. 10 hours a week or less is where I want this to be. I want it to be a little niche side thing. That's just where it's going to be. That's where I'm happy. That's where I feel I can best serve the customer. Any more than that, the service would be degraded, and I don't think I'd be doing myself or yourself the best. It wouldn't serve either of us best. So yeah, that's where I'm going to cap it at. If and when I start getting more than that, substantially more than that, I'm going to raise, I won't raise the fees because the fees are fine where they're at. I'll just raise the minimums. I'll raise the minimums to where I'm gonna temper demand to match the supply that I want to put out. Another service, I wanted to save this for the end. We're almost wrapping up. It's gonna stay under 20 minutes. It's longer than I intended though, as always. New service. If you want to send to me raw cards to be consigned, they do need to meet the $250 card minimum once they're graded. You won't know the final grade. I'm not going to hold you to that. I know, I understand that, but within reason. I have had a couple individuals reach out to me that I'm like piloting this program. It's already underway. The $15 service is open as of today. It closes temporarily, potentially. Maybe it'll come back in the future, but it closes at the end of October 31st. So if you want to get cards into me, if I get inundated, I'm going to say, sorry, I don't have enough time. October 31st is the deadline. By the time you see this video, that'll be about 2 weeks away after Denver. 2 weeks away. So I have a couple hundred cards already coming in. I'm paying 15. I'm charging 20. It's probably more than a lot of middlemen charge. It's probably more than a lot of middlemen make. But I've been specifically asked. Some of the people are international. Some of the people have different circumstances. I don't know their story at the end of the day. It doesn't really matter to me. I mean, some people have offered me this much. So I'm doing it. I'm putting it out there that I'll do it for other people. But I'm not going to become Graded Gem. I'm not going to become Ludkins. I'm not going to submit 100,000 cards personally. 80 cards a week is going to be my cap. If and when I start exceeding that, the fee's either going to go to $10 per card over what I pay PSA, or it's going to go away completely. So this is like tentative, as like a couple people are already locked in. A couple people are like grandfathered in, but if and when it gets obscene, it's going to end. Like that's just that's what it is at the end of the day. If you think $5 per card is too much to charge, if you think that's too much to make, great, don't use it. Like that's where I stand on it. But some people have reached out to me. I want to pay you this much per card to get my cards submitted, get my cards through. I don't want to do it myself. That's perfectly reasonable too. So if there's someone out there wanting that service, I will do that. I will do it no more than 80 cards per week. And that's kind of combined, blended in to some extent with my total receipts on already graded cards too. So I'm going to be doing the math as PSA didn't when they built that obscene backlog. If and when the numbers start not making sense, I will provide a further update. I will make it so less cards come in one way or the other. I mean, I'm not going to do that to my customers. I'm not going to do that to myself. So yeah, that's my update for the consignment service. I appreciate everyone who's used it so far. I think it's worked out great. Really beneficial thing going on. Again, link is down below to get the consignment submission form if you're interested. Hit me up on Instagram, Discord, email. Hit me up in the comments, whatever. And if not, that's fine too. This is me cataloging my journey in the YouTube space, what my business is doing. Consignments are not part of that. So yeah, that's everything for today. Affiliate link, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. As always, I will see you all later.